Hey, hey everybody, what's going on? Hello, hello, hello. Hey everybody, welcome to the Bitwave AI Week Bitwave Agentic launch live stream. I am just so incredibly excited. This is going to be a really fun day. So let's get right into it. We got a lot to demo, a lot to talk about, a lot to do. So this week has been AI Week here at Bitwave. We obviously, like everybody in the white collar space, it's fair to say, we've been just smitten by AI. We spend a lot of time as developers working with it. We spend a lot of time now as accountants and bookkeepers and financial service providers and financial operators with it. So everything that we're doing today is all based around this idea of like how do we leverage AI as finance teams? How do we leverage AI as a group of practitioners in the crypto space, but in the broader finance space to do the best work we possibly can? So I'm super excited. Over the last few days, we've been announcing a bunch of stuff. So go look at our LinkedIn from yesterday, the day before, Monday. We have announced just a ton of stuff. I'm going to do an overview of all of it today, and then we'll wind up showing off some new stuff at the end here, doing some demos. We will have demos coming out for the next like couple of weeks. There's so much that we announced that I can't even talk about. That there's just too much here. There's so much that we've announced. There's so much to do here. It is pretty crazy. So let's get into it. I'm super excited. So first things first, I'm really excited. So the first thing we announced on Monday that was really a fun announcement was something called CubeClaw. So and just to kind of let me put this in perspective really quickly. So Bitwave Agentic is what we're calling this entire kind of week of fun stuff. It's our vision for an AI native finance organization. Like we work with so many different practitioners, so many different outsourced CFOs, outsourced bookkeepers, giant companies like DTCC and folks like that are doing really good work in crypto and getting into it. And we see these problems popping up over and over and over again as folks are looking to work with AI. It is that when finance teams go to work with AI, it's a little bit different than when you just do it for yourself, or even when you're doing it as a programmer, because finance has a certain set of requirements. Like it's a little bit more complex. You have to have a lot more verifiability. You have to have a lot more assurances. You have a lot more confidence in your data, and you have to have a lot more control over it as a set of practitioners. So that it really leads nicely to the very, very first thing that we announced, CubeClaw. I'm so incredibly excited about this. It's such a cool product. We don't always get a chance to give back. We're always working on new features and adding new blockchains and new exchanges. There's not a lot of open source stuff that we get to do. So as part of this, we started working on this a while ago. Is that we saw this advent. If you're out there and if you haven't worked with something like OpenClaw, NanoClaw, Hermes, you might have heard of a few different names for these things. This is really the future of agentic work. I mean, everybody, all the big guys are trying to do this as well in their clouds and things like that. But if you look at like a lot of folks out there are starting to get incredible results by using these locally installed agentic operators, agentic platforms. So that's what OpenClaw is. That's what Hermes is. You install it locally, and it's an agent that can just kind of run in the background, and it can just keep on running. And you can chat with it through Slack. You can chat with it through Discord, whatever you want to. But the problem is, it would be absolutely insane for most of our customers to let their accountants install something like OpenClaw on their machine, right? It's just so incredibly an almost like agentic intelligence running that has access to all of your client data and all of your all of the different worksheets you use and work papers and all that kind of stuff. You can't do that. You can't just let your folks go out there and do it. And then we have another class of customers, like our really big financial institutions that we work with, that essentially have a separate problem, which is that they're not allowed to install anything locally. And so all these guys are looking at saying like, well, hey, how do we start to like get comfort with, we as a regulated financial operator, how do we get comfortable with it? CubeClaw is what we are releasing for this. It is open source. It's Bitwave under GitHub, github.com/bitwave-io/CubeClaw, cube-claw.com. There's a cute blue lobster logo here that we spent quite a bit of time on. So that was the most important part. And what this does is this installs in a Kubernetes cluster. So the idea is that for any financial institution where you really can't run any sort of claw or automate agentic work locally because you're worried that it's going to have access to your different data files, You can install this up in a Kubernetes cluster, connect it into your Slack, connect it into your Microsoft Teams, wherever you need to. And it has this great property that then it has all of these features that myself as a financial operator, but then also as a security, centric folk for like I've been doing security for a long time, most of my career. We added all these cool security features. So the ability to basically, when you invite it into a channel to talk to it, it'll basically ask you how it wants to interact with the channel. Does it read all the messages or just what it's mentioned? If you invite it to go and look at your Jira, or you want to give it access to QuickBooks, you can do that. It'll ping you and ask you for an API key that you then have full control over. You can rotate, you can do whatever you want. You have full control over the images that it runs. You have full control over the prompts. As an IT team, you have full auditability into everything that's happening here. This is something that we want to give back to everybody. We use it internally because we do a lot of this type of work. But let's say, what you're going to see, we're going to be announcing, and as part of this, we've been announcing like the Bitwave CLI. This is a great example. Like you can take a claw, OpenClaw, NanoClaw, CubeClaw, whatever you want, and you can tell like, hey, go and download the Bitwave CLI. It'll be able to find it. It's up on NPM and Homebrew and all the places these things are out there. Go and download the Bitwave CLI, and every day wake up at 9 a.m. and look at my new transactions and categorize them. And at the end of the month, at the end of the month, so every first of the month, go and make sure all my inventory views are running cleanly. If there's any transactions that are in there that aren't categorized, ping me back and check. It can do all of that automatically. That's literally the prompt you can write right there. Is you just tell it to do that work. It'll go out. It'll actually pull it out. It'll do it. This is it is like an almost unbelievable world that we all kind of live in now, that agents are smart enough to kind of do these things. But that's it. Like you can do that today. Talk to us, talk to your internal IT teams, anything like that. I'm gonna do a real quick demo of it here just to kind of show what it looks like. But it is really, really exciting. And like I said, this is open for anyone that wants to play around with this. So what you can do is once you have it installed, once your IT team gets this installed, you can say, hey, CubeClaw, can you please connect to our Jira and review the most recent tickets for any bugs? Then use the Bitwave CLI to pull the Bitwave transactions for the Bitwave instance of Bitwave and see if there's anything we need to categorize. What it's going to do is it's going to go off. It's going to go off and start working on this immediately. So it throws these little eyes on there. It does one really cool thing, which is this is only interesting for folks that are more on the technical side. It's actually, we don't have it hooked up to Jira yet. So it's actually going to Slack me directly and say, hey, Pat, I need an API token for Jira. It's also then going to respond with a link that allows me to connect my Bitwave CLI to the overall organization. So it's out there working right now. We'll let it sit, and we might come back to it in a second once it's all done. But that's it. Like it's as simple as kind of doing that type of work, and it can pick up all these things. The other part of that. So let's kind of like get into the Bitwave CLI, because this is the part that is a lot of the meat and potatoes here. So you can check it out online, cli.bitwave.io, cli.bitwave.io, and it does three things. And this is like kind of crazy. I mean, look, at the end of the day, the whole world is changing around us constantly. Like I don't know how better to say it. As a CEO of a SaaS company, it's hard not to be just incredibly like terrified is not the right word, because I'm also so incredibly excited. But like everything is changing so fast. Like there was this button we hit that was like warp speed change, and that's been happening for a long time. Like the speed of change has accelerated. And now with AI, it's just gone hockey stick in terms of how much stuff is changing. So one of the things that we think is going to happen is that agents are going to be working with CLIs to interact with your code, with your SaaS products. So with Bitwave, you can use the Bitwave CLI. It can log in either on behalf of itself. There's a new tab in Bitwave where you can control agent access, or as on behalf of you. It'll still record that an agent did work when stuff happens. You'll see that was like, Bitwave CLI on behalf of Bob doing the work inside of Bitwave. But you can do it things that you can tell it to look at transactions, categorize stuff, all that kind of stuff. So everything you can do, or not everything, a lot of the stuff you can do through the Bitwave CLI, through the Bitwave UI, you can now do through the Bitwave CLI, and that means your agent can actually pick it up and run with it. There's two other things that we built into this that I'm super excited about. The first is we built a full set of we built into it the ability for your agents to do simple accounting work locally. There's a really cool format out there called plain text accounting. It's been around for a super long time. I am very firmly of the belief that this is its moment. Like, this is the moment for plain text accounting, because agents are just so good at working with these flat files locally. It allows you to create a chart of accounts, create a set of transactions, create to book things into it. A lot of people use it for the personal expenses, but honestly, if you're a small business and you don't need all the complexity of a huge ERP, why buy QuickBooks if all you want is the ability to record a couple of transactions? If you don't need products, if you don't need customers and all this, CRM features and ERP features and all these things that you're paying for in these bigger products, and all you want is somebody to keep a quick set of books, or if you want an agent just to model out a real quick depreciation schedule, you can do all of that directly here. So let me show you this. I had Claude working on this earlier. This is a really excuse me, really fun one. So I had Claude working on this, which is, we're just going to this one here. So what I did is I started up a Claude instance and I said, hey, using the Bitwave CLI, please just create a quick depreciation schedule for a expensive GPU server we just bought, and then a expense report for a coffee I just got for breakfast. And so it goes out, it can do all that locally. You can then, it'll set these books up. These are actually in flat files. It can run balance reports, run a P&L report on this. It can run P&L reports. It can run balance reports. Anything you want to do on that kind of stuff, it can basically do right there. So I'm sharing the wrong screen. Hold on one sec. There we go. All right. Sorry about that. So you can see here that I asked it to create a depreciation schedule for something. So this is a great example. Like, we have so many folks that just need to do quick and dirty things. I want to do a loan schedule. I want to do a depreciation schedule that you would normally do in a workbook. You can ask your agents to do this. And the great part is, when you're all done with this, it can run the P&L, it can show it, you can record expenses. We actually had this deep belief, and I swear to God, this happened just last night. I was out at a networking dinner, and I was talking to the person next to me. I'm talking about what we do and some of the new stuff we're launching. I'm like, yeah, we're launching this thing for agents to do agentic expense reports. And she looked at me and she's like, wait a second. Like, I have my agent every month spends about $1,500 on various things. They buy data, they're booking me, hotel rooms, and I don't track any of it. Like, I don't track any of that money that gets spent. I'm like, well, you work at a business. If you're working at a business, you actually have to track that. So part of the CLI is a full expense report tool for agents. So if you give your agent the ability to spend money, either through X402 or any of these other things, basically one of the things you can do is just say, hey, by the way, every time you spend money, use the Bitwave CLI to record an expense, and then share that with me and give your email address. And it'll actually pick it up, ship it to you on a daily basis. You'll get an expense report from your agent that you can do a one click and pull that into your ERP right from there. It's kind of crazy. Like, I don't know how to say this, because it's like, I don't know if this is really going to be the future of the world, but I do know that agentic spend has gone up. X402 just announced that they had $24 million to spend over the last 6 months. I know that we see this. Ripple just announced they had their millionth agentic transaction. Any of these things where you have agents spending money on chain, bad news, guys. Like, you've got to account for that. And it's not as clean. I love this because in crypto accounting, it's already super not clean. The whole point of crypto accounting is it's dirty, it's messy. Everyone's like, you're trying to run down people to get exactly what they were spending these transactions, what they were for. Agentic's going to be that much, but worse, because the agents are ephemeral. They spend money, then disappear. It goes away. So this is a framework that if you are spending money as an agent, if you have an agent spending money on your behalf, just tell it to keep an expense report using the Bitwave CLI and ship it to you on a daily basis. It can even take it and share the whole thing with you. So it actually can share the whole thing directly with you. And there's an online workspace that you can work for all of it. So that's it. That's the three parts of the Bitwave CLI. One is access to the Bitwave organization, transaction categorization, running balance reports, running inventory views, all that kind of stuff. There's doing simple books calculations locally. If you just want to do a quick depreciation schedule, record a couple of expenses, whatever you need to do on that side. And then third, if you have an agent running in KubeClaw, in OpenClaw, wherever it is, just tell it to use the Bitwave CLI to basically track all of its expenses. It'll ship it up. We'll handle it automatically, and that get shipped into your actual ERP. It's a crazy time. I don't know what's going to happen with all these things, but we are, in fact, really quite excited about it, I think is fair to say. Okay, so that gets us through Tuesday. So Monday we announced KubeClaw. Really cool. Go check it out, or ping us if you're interested in basically how financial regulated systems can run better accounting tools here, especially when you don't want to ship your data up to Microsoft and those types of folks. It's all open source. It's all designed to run locally in your own data center. We have the Bitwave CLI, which is a totally new way to interact with everything that is out there. So the Bitwave data on-chain data. What we'll talk about later is we actually announced the Bitwave data and analytics as well today. This is a new tab inside of Bitwave, and it's accessible from both the MCP and the CLI. So the CLI also has the ability to pull crypto data that you might need. So if you have an agent that needs to do crypto data, crypto analytics, you can now use the Bitwave CLI to actually pull that data from our very extensive SOC controlled data sources. Use that to power report generation. Use that to power your own internal tracking and reconciliation, whatever you need to do from there. So Bitwave CLI has access to all these types of things. Second piece here is the Bitwave MCP. So this is super exciting. If the way I like to talk about this, because there's so many terms and there's all this stuff people are throwing out there right now. So you got CLIs, you got MCPs, you got clause. A CLI, really good way to think about it is when we built our CLI, it's really designed for an agent to kind of use independently and potentially even discover. Like if you tell your agent, hey, go keep a set of books, there's a good chance it's going to use the Bitwave CLI because we're really the only option for using this that you can then share easily and they can do any crypto stuff inside of it. The MCP is a little bit more like if you are using a harness that you like. So you're using Claude harness, or you're using Codex, or you're using VS Code, or one of those. Basically, you can connect into the Bitwave MCP server. It'll ask you to authenticate like you normally would. It uses that OAuth flow. So as soon as you add, it's mcp.bitwave.io. As soon as you add that, it'll basically pop an auth and say, hey, sign up for the, sign into Bitwave. It's then operating exactly on your behalf, basically. So it's like, hey, all right, you are operating that MCP server. And then all of the same stuff that you can do through the CLI, you can then go and do through the MCP server. So it all comes down to like how you're operating. Are you using a harness like Claude to do different agentic work, and you want to connect to the MCP and then do some categorization work? Or do you have an agent that you want to just set out and say, hey, every day wake up and try to do some bookkeeping in Bitwave and create rules and all that kind of stuff? You can do that as well on there. So two different options to get access to the data for your agents, two different good ways. The MCP it's in beta now. You'll see inside of Bitwave, you'll see a little thing that says request access to the MCP. You can do that. We'll be rolling it out to everybody here over the next few weeks as we stabilize it. The MCP protocol is also going through a really big change this week to a V2. So we're going to be up to date with the V2. It's a little bit cleaner, works nicer for everybody. All right. Okay. So that's how you get agents access to your corporate data. It's how you do some bookkeeping. It's how you get agents doing expense reports. KubeClaw is how you as a finance team can start to get into this agentic automated work running, world, which is really crazy. The last thing I'll talk about is it's the Bitwave data and analytics. So at a high level, Bitwave has obviously we spent the last 8 years now, which is crazy. So we're gonna do our own bicentennial celebration. We turn 8 on August 16th. So that's pretty soon here, which is kind of crazy to me. We've been building up these data sets of blockchain data. So, and obviously these are financial quality level data sets. And we've never, there's different ways folks get access to it. As part of our reconciliation product, we expose our data sets. As part of with a couple of customers, we expose data sets to them. But it hasn't been something that we've really ever exposed publicly until now. So now we're launching Bitwave Data Analytics. There's two parts of this. There's access to all of the Bitwave data in a very, 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 very fast fashion through the CLI. So if you just need to pull a set of financial quality transactions for a given address, you can do that through the MCP and the CLI. We will be slowly rolling out over the next couple of weeks a token model inside of Bitwave. So you will have a certain set of tokens that you can use. You can buy more tokens. They will represent things like pulling data, pulling analytics. We're going to be launching some more cool stuff around this over the next month or two. So get really excited about that. But basically, you'll have a token model for how to pay for this stuff. So if you just need to do, pull any data you want to be able to do anything with, run it from there, you can use it. But it's not just kind of financial level transaction data for MCPs. I'm sorry, for like your CLI and your agent and stuff like that. Analytics is actually allows you to write SQL against our data sets. Now, the way I look at this is there's absolutely no universe where you want to write the SQL. Use your agent. If you have an agent, you have Claude, you can say, hey, Claude, like I need you to run this query against Bitwave's data set using the Bitwave CLI. And it will be able to write the full SQL query that it basically needs. You don't have to do anything. We're using this for a few things. So first of all, if you just want to start gathering data, like what's the overall flow of USDC through all the markets right now, you can run queries like that on it. But the cool part is you can start to do more intelligent stuff. So we're actually baking this into our treasury product. So the treasury product, the way it works is it allows you to configure approaching and breaching rules on top of anything you want. So one of the things you can do is you can say, hey, monitor our DeFi wallet on chain. And if the balance ever reaches, if the liquidity that we're holding in a pool ever reaches more than 60% of the overall liquidity in that pool, throw up a giant red flag. So that uses a combination of our treasury product, our DeFi product, and then our analytics product. That's what makes it so beautiful. This whole aggregated piece of all this stuff is the treasury product allows you to set up rules. It says, look at this wallet balance and then run this analytics query. The DeFi product allows you to connect into a liquidity pool and see the balance that you own of that liquidity pool. And then the final piece is the analytics allows you to write a query that's going to get the actual overall portion of the liquidity, like the actual 60% of overall liquidity in that pool. So if it's $1 million pool, that would be like $500,000 or $600,000 of USDC. You can wait to see if you hit that number. You can back into that using Bitwave Analytics and then use that to power the treasury dashboard here. So we'll be launching a whole bunch of these. There'll be more and more demos coming out over the next few weeks. There'll be more and more information about this. It's already live in the app. You can see the analytics tab. You can kind of connect with us on that piece. But if any of this is interesting, like we're here to basically help. Like we have completely rewritten everything that we're doing around AI to speed up your processes, automate it, get human beings out of the flow here. And we have some other really exciting announcements coming over the next few weeks, all about, more and more of this, accelerating this and getting more and more agents doing all this type of work here. So I'm gonna stop there. This has been an absolutely amazing time with everybody here. Bitwave.io/agentic. We go over all of these different things. Please reach out to us if any of these things pique your curiosity. We'll have obviously a lot more. We're bringing people in now as early beta users. But if you need it, you want it, just ping us. We'll get you flipped on for it. It's really, really exciting. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a really wonderful